So yeah, so back to finances. So it is the end of 2025, and I want to talk about my experiences in the stock market for this entire year. I've been invested for about, I think, 4 years, pushing 5 years next year during the summertime. But essentially what I want to talk about in this video is my experiences, what I've been holding, what I have, what percentage does a certain ETFs or certain stocks make up my entire portfolio. So yeah, let's get to it. So obviously the S&P 500 and the growth version of the S&P 500 accounts for about 50% of my portfolio. That is quite a bit, but that's essentially what I've been investing in since day one. So always constantly investing regardless of the price, regardless if it goes up or down. There's been a moment where I just completely forgot that I was invested, and this was about 2 years ago. And the reason why I say this is because, or the reason why this is important is because, you know, stocks is not something that you want to look at every day. It just throws you out the way. But with that said, it's also very important to understand what your money should be going into, and that's essentially what I want to talk about right now. The S&P is great. The total stock market for the US is also a good idea to invest in. I think a ticker symbol is VTI, a Vanguard's version of tracking the entire S&P 500. I've also invested in QQQ, which is basically a tech stock or tech ETF that tracks, you know, the most powerful 100 tech companies in the US. But we already know that. We already know we gotta invest in S&P. We already know we should invest in tech. I don't invest in crypto, even though I should buy some crypto because it is down. It has gone from 120, 110 to 90 last time I checked. But this was a while ago, so don't quote me on that. I should buy, but I just haven't purchased. But anyways, another thing that I want you guys to invest in, of course, if don't take my advice because I'm not a finance advisor. But if I were to have extra money, I would toss it into something called a dividend-yielding ETF. So Charles Schwab is very high up there when it comes to consistent dividend-yielding ETF. So when I bought it, it was at 26, and the yield is at 3.3%, which is like $1 or something. But that's besides the point. Like, dividends is supposed to be a long-term, steady, consistent dividend yielding ETF. So whatever, and of course dividends are paid off quarterly, right? So for each $26 stock, you're supposed to get $1 every year. And if I put it in those terms, it sounds kind of lame. But of course, you're not going to buy just one stock or one ETF share. You're not going to buy 2 shares. You're going to buy like hundreds or even thousands of each share. And that's what you want. You want to buy shares so you can compound the amount of dividends you get over time. And of course, reinvest those dividends. You know, eventually you're gonna earn enough dividends that you're gonna buy more. You're gonna reinvest automatically that income into buying more shares of the same dividend yielding ETF, and then you get more, and then it starts to compound. That's the idea. So when it comes to how much of this the ETF comprises of my portfolio, I think it's about, I haven't checked, I think it's about 7 to 10%. I do own a lot of QQQ and QQM, pretty much the same thing. I just wish I have purchased QQM because it's cheaper in the long run, and it tracks the exact same thing. It's just cheaper. So it's not like I need to sell what I have currently in QQQ. I don't need that money, and that's the idea of investing. You shouldn't invest what you know you are going to need in the near future. You invest, and that money is pretty much gone, but that money still belongs to you because it's under your name. It's under your social security. Money still belongs to you, but essentially what I'm trying to say here is that money shouldn't be part of your emergency fund. Emergency fund shouldn't be part of your 3 to 6 months of expenses. None of that. It's just money allocated for investing only, and you only take it out when you really truly need it. But that's besides the point. So 50% is basically the S&P 500. I would say 15% of my portfolio is tech stocks, QQQ and QQM. A good part of it is Charles Schwab, dividend-yielding ETF. And there are others, of course, that I haven't mentioned anything. I haven't mentioned yet that comprises 200% of my portfolio. Everything else is either in single stocks. I have a lot of, I have 5% of my holdings into this single stock, another 7% into a different single stock. To my point, I just have a bunch of single stocks that are doing its thing in the back end. But the one thing I'm trying to push up is investing into nuclear energy. There are a couple of ETFs out there that I've been looking into. The expense ratios are pretty high, but at the same time, I shouldn't worry about expense ratios in the long run. The reason why I want to look into nuclear ETFs or single stocks is because we know AI is taking in a lot of, it's just consuming a lot of energy, and a good way to make AI usage sustainable, considering all of this investment in the infrastructure. We have the one in Abilene, Texas, backed by Oracle and OpenAI. To my point, these infrastructures are being built throughout the continents. It's going to require a lot of energy, and the one way to sustain this demand is going nuclear. But of course, nuclear has its thing, right? We have the accident that happened in Chernobyl, in Ukraine. We have that scare that happened in California a couple of decades ago, I should say. To my point, something has to give. We're gonna have to convert to nuclear. We also have other hot topics out there like silver. We have gold, more silver than gold, and I'm blanking out what other industries or sectors that we should probably invest into. But in my portfolio specifically, I want to look into investing into crude oil or gasoline stocks like Chevron, Exxon, Philip. I forget what's the parent company of Phillips 66, but it's Philip. I know it starts with the C. But anyways, I do own Exxon Mobil. I bought it when I was at 55. Now it's at 120 per share. I should have purchased Chevron. Their dividend yielding rate is at $4, and their share is at 160 or 150. I forget. It's only been a couple of hours that I've last looked into this, but so this information is fairly recent in respect to the date that this video is coming out, right? But I want to make my portfolio less reliant on tech stocks, because S&P mainly tracks tech stocks, and the QQQ is nothing but tech stocks. I want to fully invest into other industries that are irrespective and not dependent on tech stocks. So I want to diversify my portfolio even more. I do invest in single stocks that have pushed up my portfolio in the long run, which in the short run is like, I wish I had done something else with the money, but in the long run, it's done its thing. And my portfolio does consist of dividend yielding shares, so that's good. I'm looking into beefing that up to maybe 25% of my entire holdings. I've also been looking into energy stocks. And by energy, I mean gas companies like I mentioned right now, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Philip, the parent company of Phillips 66. They are high yielding. Some of them are high yielding dividend stocks, like Chevron's at 4% a share. But that's my idea. I'm also curious to know what you guys have. If you're willing to share, let me know in the comments. But that's essentially the direction I'm trying to get my portfolio towards. I have been very successful when it comes to buying, sharing, and holding. So I don't regret. The only regret that I do have is not having invested more when I was first starting. When I first started, it was at $10, $20, $100, $200 every now and then. It wasn't a lot of investment. But throughout time, I started to become more used to the idea of the S&P or of playing the stock market, and then it started to become, hey, like I'm gonna invest. I have extra cash laying around. I already have my emergency fund already laid out. I already have my 3 to 6 months of expenses. I have all this extra money, so I gotta do something with it. And what I've been doing is just tossing my extra money into the stock market. I already mentioned about maybe 75% of my portfolio. Most of it is in S&P. Some of it is in Charles Schwab, high yielding dividend ETF. And right now, I want to beef up my energy exposure for my portfolio, and I also want to look into nuclear, because we're gonna have to look into it because of the AI energy demand, considering that the AI infrastructure that's being built throughout the continents. We have one in Abilene that's going to be finished in I think in August, if there's nothing impeding. But to that point, AI it's here to stay. It's gonna continue to be used, and it takes a lot of energy. Alright, fellas, I appreciate you guys listening to this video. Appreciate you guys bearing with my voice, and I've been coughing because I am sick. But I do want to get this video out because I think it's very important for us to understand how critical it is to have our money invested and to have our money work for us, not the other way around. So yeah, if you haven't created an account, I do want to help you guys in building an account. If you guys have $100 or $1,000 or even $2, I don't care. Create your account, get your money invested, and start having your money work for you. Alright then, fellas, later.
Where's Rexy and fucking bitch ass fucking 60 at?